Okay, we are looking at the value shading and contrast assignment here in Canvas. Essentially, we're going to look at creating highlight, midtones, and shadows. We may not worry about this advanced setting for this particular assignment, but do realize that reflected highlights are often forgot about when we're talking about shading. And this is a great thing to think about including when we're talking about that, overall value for real objects, because yes, we're getting that highlight here, but we're also getting like a reflected highlight from our surface. And then of course we've got our cast shadow that we'll work on as well. Okay, basic goals and whatnot are in here, some task lists to help you out as well. Also got some quick commands and then some advanced stuff if you guys want to see some detailed information. In order to do the assignment, you'll probably want the assignment example and also the assignment document. So if you click on either of those, it will drop down and you'll have all those goodies. Today, I'm going to be editing in Photoshop just because most of us have access to this at this point. If you are using a consolidated version on like a Chromebook or something, and you're finding that some of the tools aren't available there, please let me know. Or you could use Photopea, but I'm assuming that everything should be available for what we're doing today because we're sticking with a lot of the basics. So we've got our example here that's actually filled out. We've got some nice movement lines to show us the rounding of our sphere. We've got pretty basic flat lines associated with the cube. And then we've got an interesting concept here where we've got flat lines going down and then rounded lines for the cone to create that, not necessarily a sphere look, but the rounded look. All right, let's do the first thing here, which I think would be the easiest part, which is to fill in this value scale. And it's just going to be a repetitive process. You're probably going to see that I'm grabbing the magic wand tool, which is underneath if we click and hold the object selection. So let's grab that magic wand. I'm going to Control plus to zoom in once, or Command plus on a Mac. And we're going to grab our brush. I believe yours will be set up like that and that. Okay. Now, Photoshop will remember all of the stuff that we do from time to time. So make sure that you're kind of making some mental notes about some of the settings that are on here. I'm using a pure black. It's all zeros for our color. You could also use the eyedropper, so I for eyedropper, and take that selection. I'm going to use some quick commands today. So I'm going to switch W. We'll grab my magic wand, B for brush, and I don't want to paint black. I want to paint with this color right here, which I could bring up the eyedropper, take a selection, switch back with B, and paint it in. W for the magic wand. And instead of always switching back and forth between the eyedropper and the brush, I'm going to teach you guys a new quick command today, which is when you are in a brush setting, okay, you can bring up the eyedropper. Notice how I haven't switched from the brush, but my eyedropper pulled up. If you hold Alt on a Windows-based computer, you'll bring up the eyedropper and you can click and take a selection. Or if you're using a Mac, you can use Option and click and take that color there. So very quick command. W brings up the magic wand. B brings up the brush. Hold Alt or Option, take a selection, and paint. W, B, Alt or Option, paint. W, B, Alt or Option, paint. Okay, now our value scale here goes from the blackest black and then it goes to a very, very light gray. It doesn't go all the way to white. So just be aware of that. That is a difference that is on here with this hex codes. I actually put this as pure white, whereas on the actual example here, we're going to like a very light gray. All right, let's fill out the other easy part here. So I switched over to my magic wand with W, clicked in this space, and we're not going to use the brush to try to like fill this out. That would be too much work. Instead, we're going to go down and grab the gradient tool. And we're going to switch this over. I believe automatically this isn't set up exactly correct. It may be on a color or something. So what you'll want to do is pull open the basics here, and we're looking for the black and white. If you're not seeing that, you could always just make sure that your colors down here are set to default. You click this little icon, and it'll set it to black and white. And we should be good to go. I'm going to click and hold and drag that all the way over here. If I want it to be a little less white, I could bring it further, but I do want to see this section becoming white just a little bit. Command or Control D will deselect. And I'm going to fill these out kind of backwards. I'm going to do the cube, the cone, and then the sphere. So let's do the cube first. Looking at the example here, we've got our darkest side over here. We've got a little bit lighter side here, and then pretty light up top. The interesting thing is that the light is actually hitting the side we can't see, and it's hitting the top over here. So I've given those little light directions to kind of help you out. Let's do the darkest side first. So I'm going to take my brush, and we're going to make some setting changes. We're going to change our brush from being completely hard at 100% to 0%. You can see the feathering there. And I'm going to take my flow rate, which is very important. Our flow rate, I'm going to take that to about 5%. I think I said anywhere between 5 and 15. Your smoothing, I think, automatically is set up at 10%. You could set it at 0. It just kind of depends how good of hand control you have. So if you're using a trackpad, maybe don't use, you could use like a higher smoothing. But for me, this is totally fine. I'm just using a mouse. And I want my backside here to be pretty stinking dark. And if I have any shading that is not necessarily like pure black on this backside, it's just going to be the very, very, very top right here. Okay, so that essentially does it for that side. I'm going to grab my wand and select here, and my B for brush. And I'm going to start on this side here. This is going to be very, very dark, and slowly brush that up. That looks pretty good. And my last part, B for brush, this just has like a nice tint, kind of like so. I went pretty dark on that, but for the most part, it looks great. And here's what stinks. The magic wand tool is not going to work on our casted shadow of the cube. So I'm going to hit Command or Control D there. And instead, I'm going to have to grab the polygonal lasso. So click and hold. It should be the regular lasso first. And if you click and hold, it'll bring up the polygonal. And I'm just going to outline that space. Don't forget with this tool, you do have to block out that entire area. And I'm going to bring my brush up. And I want the core part of that shadow right there to be as black as it is on the back of this cube. So looking like that is pretty good. And Control or Command D, and zoom out with Command or Control minus. All right, not too bad. I did go really, really dark there, but that'll work. All right, let's do our cone. Our cone, don't forget that it kind of has like this rounding to it. I'm not going this direction as much as I am kind of creating this swirl going this way. And that is because we have the highlight, the primary highlight in this is on this side. So our shadow is actually kind of here in the back. So I'll kind of work on this backspace a little bit more. And I went a little bit too far there. If you go a little bit too far, you can switch with this key to white. I'm just going to add a little bit of white back into that. And switch it back. There we go. That should be pretty dark. Oop. Control Z. Cool. All right, let's do that cast shadow. Again, closer to the object should be a lot darker. And then I'm going to kind of brush this up a little bit and blend. You can see there I kind of miss that edge. So I could re-highlight this if I hit Command or Control Z. It goes back to that highlight there. And Command or Control D, that looks a little bit better. This edge could have gotten a little bit darker there. There we go. All right, the sphere. Okay, the sphere is going to be a little bit more challenging because we're not only like trying to go this direction, we're also trying to kind of round things out and go this direction. So I'm going to hit Control Z or Command Z a couple times to go backwards. Let's take a look at this. We got the highlight essentially right here. Shadows are on the back side, and we're kind of rounding things out this direction. You have the illusion of it going this way, but the pencil markings in this particular image are going a lot of this way. And it probably is because whoever created that was right-handed. Just a thought. Now that highlight is almost in the middle here. So I'm going to kind of round this out like so. And I really want that to be dark down here at the bottom. That's starting to look pretty nice. Okay. And if I go a little bit too dark, kind of like up here, I'm going to switch over to white, and I'm actually going to bring my flow rate down to about 1% and bring my brush up. I know I'm crazy, right? And I'm going to switch with X back to black. And that actually looks pretty good. What's incredible is when you bring that flow rate really far down, it really lightens how quickly the brush is actually active, and it makes things blend a little bit more easy. You just have to be patient. I know it's so hard for so many of us. Oh yeah, that looks really good. All right, I'm going to switch over to my magic wand, grab my brush, and switch it to black. I'm using X on my keyboard to switch that back and forth, black and white. And I'm going to bring my flow rate up a little bit for my shadow, bring it to about 5%. And let's look at the example. Okay, highlights a little bit over here, shadows mainly really close. So I'm going to start just kind of rounding things out right there and then slowly fade out here. Superb. And Command or Control D. That looks pretty good. Look at that. All right, final part for our assignment is to go in and use the text tool and just click it in there, and you can put your name. And if you need to move it around, I'll hit the check mark. If you need to move that around, use the Move tool, and you'll notice I've got the Auto Select turned off. It's not checked. I'm on the actual text layer here, and I can move that around. Okay. All right, I want to notate a couple of saving things on Photoshop versus Photopea. So first of all, if we were on Photoshop, we can save at any time if I do Command S or Control S, or you can do File Save As. Okay, so File, Save As, or Save. You'll notice it's going to be called a Photoshop file, and the Photoshop file is a PSD file. Now make a notation of where that is going in your saves. But the nice thing is, if you save this, let's say we do some editing here for whatever reason, like let's just take, for example, I edit, whatever, and I want to save it again. You can just quick command save by Control or Command S, or you can go save right there. See? Okay, and it automatically saves the work that you did. Now, I don't want to keep this, so I'm going to actually delete it. But that is a great way to automatically have the ability to save, and it's not going to save like 100 files. So getting in the habit of saving is good. The other thing, just like normal though, I do want you to turn this into me as a PNG. For Photoshop, you can go to export and quick export as PNG, and it'll knock one out. If you want to more specifically put where it's going to go and change file types, it looks very similar if you go save as. You just have to go down to the file format and change it to PNG and then hit save. Okay. And then we say replace. If you had one, yes, but I'm not going to because this is just an example. All right. If you have questions, let me know.